Hey guys, I'm Michelle Carrillo and I'm super excited to be filming this YouTube video. Today I want to give you a little bit more insight into my story, the real, the raw, the authentic, and how I managed to go from someone that was broke AF, super lost, super depressed, to completely changing my life and literally making my first 10K, bringing in $1.5 million in revenue for a business in my first year of sales, and then managing a team that did over $5 million in revenue within a 5-month period, and now leading my own business with Garrett in Closing Bible and HireSalesReps.io. So I thought that today would be the perfect day to step all the way back and share my story, where I came from and how we got to this point where I'm literally living in my dream apartment. So let's go back a few years. When I was a freshman in college, I really fell into depression for a few months where I was just super lost. I had no idea what I was gonna do with my life. I was like, my dad's a plumber, my mom cleans houses. I've never been a part of any, none of my aunts are teachers, none of them are lawyers, none of them are doctors, nurses, dentists. Like, I was not exposed to that, but I was exposed to entrepreneurship. And so I started in college, I started getting, working towards my degree in psychology, but I was so lost and so confused because I was like, I have no idea what I'm gonna do with my life. Like, I don't know what I should be doing. I don't know where I should be interning. Like, I have absolutely no clue. And so I just leaned on being a college kid, partying my life away, and by default becoming depressed. And there was a moment where I felt super lost. I felt like it was first semester of college, it was done, wanted to drop out, wanted to go home. I didn't think that I could do it. And I remember going into a gas station and finding a personal development book, and that was actually where my journey started. Really cool. I learned about how to stop being a victim of my own life. I learned about how to care about the results that I was bringing in. I learned about how to be the driver of my own life, and it really did change my life because it made me take back control, where I had spent years just assuming that things kept happening at me, that I was the victim of my life. And then I realized I'm not the victim of my life, I'm the driver of my own life, and that means that I get to determine my results and the success that I have. And I get to stop being a victim and stop blaming everything on other people and take ownership, because that's really the last piece to the puzzle to actually start creating change in your life. And so that is what I did. I started to work on myself. I got invited to join a network marketing business where I was selling hair products, skincare products on my social media. So I was the one that was doing the branding, the marketing, I was doing the sales for that. I was also doing the fulfillment for that. So I was doing so much, but it was a glimpse into the business and the entrepreneurship world, and I just ate that up. I loved every single second of it. We would have motivational calls, and we would have, sales training, and it was just all so amazing to me because it was exposure to something that I was actually interested in, whereas I was literally in college at the exact same time, and I just wasn't passionate about anything that I was learning. And so I did the network marketing thing for about 4 years, from freshman year of college all the way to 2-3 months after leaving college. And while I learned so much and I got put in this amazing position to develop myself and work on myself and work on my skill, it became very apparent that this, the network marketing thing wasn't going to be my end all be all, and it was just the first stepping stone towards where I wanted to go next with my life. And so I ended up getting a degree in psychology in university, and then 1 month later I actually moved across the country from Illinois all the way to Miami, Florida, and started my whole entrepreneurship just path. I moved in with my boyfriend for the first time. We were scared to tell family. If you're watching this and you're my family, I'm sorry, but we were like, we need to do this. He was super entrepreneurial. He had been in sales at that point. I spent the first 3 months in Miami trying to make the network marketing thing work. Like, I'm telling you, I was working all day long. I was on calls, bringing people onto my team. I was helping my teammates, my downline, actually grow their team. I was teaching them how to promote the products on social media, how to close the deals. Like, I was doing everything. And the sad part is I was never making enough. Like, I always was like, like, well, what would it even feel like to make $5,000 in a month? Like imagine 10,000, but even 5,000, because the most that I had ever made in a month, I think had got to be about 2,000, 2,500, maybe even 3,000, but it was not sustainable, not enough for me to live off of. And so I spent that whole summer just like working and, you know, trying to make it. And I remember that there was a few really notable moments on that journey. The first one was when I moved to Miami. So like I was like, okay, I'm not making that much money. I got a job as a host because they didn't think that I was good enough to be a server with my lack of sales skills. And so I started as a host and was making probably like $150 every 2 weeks for my like hostess job. So I was grabbing all of that and I was putting into a savings and I was trying to save all my money. I was also door dashing any open time that I had so I can continue to save up money. And then I was also doing the network marketing thing. So I was doing 3 different things to try and save up enough money to move to Miami. And then it hit me, I need to find another way to be able to sustain. So I actually ended up applying and getting approved for my first ever credit card for a $2,500 card limit. So I moved to Miami, have about $2,000 to $3,000 in savings, and I have $2,500 on this credit card that I was gonna use as like leverage to get on my feet. Meanwhile, Garrett was already pretty established in sales, and I remember we were like moving in, we were getting furniture, we went to this mall, and we went in to get like, it had to have been like coffee and like a croissant. Something literally so small. And I remember I was at the cashier, I was staring at the cashier. She was saying like, this is how much it's gonna be. And it just flashed before my eyes, like I'm about to pay for like, you know, the deposit for this apartment. I'm also gonna have to pay like half of the furniture. And it was just like mind boggling to me. Like I'm already almost going broke and we just got here. And I literally had a breakdown inside of this coffee shop where I was like, I don't know if my card's gonna decline if I buy us this coffee. And we just moved here and like, I'm so embarrassed and I don't know how I'm gonna make it work. Obviously I had the credit card, but I was like, if I run out of all my money and I'm only relying on a credit card, like I am legitimately fucked. Like what am I gonna do? So I had a breakdown, I started crying. Garrett obviously paid for it and he was like, what's going on? Like, why are you having a breakdown? And I was like, I don't know. I don't even know. And I didn't want to say like, I'm stressed out because of money, but I was really trying to stay positive because I really wanted the network marketing job that I was doing to be the full-time thing where I could make the money that I wanted to make. And that was probably my first of many, you know, mental breakdowns, anxiety attacks because of money. And honestly, the pressure was on. Like I had left my family. I was no longer being supported by my parents. Obviously, when I was in college, they were helping with like gas here and there and fast food here and there. But when all of that's on you, okay, that's a whole different story. Like they add up pretty quickly. So that was the first of many. And you know, back to kind of what I was saying a little bit ago before I gave you guys the whole backstory to it, because I do think it's important. I spent that whole summer post-college trying to make it work, building my team. I was working endless hours. I was working until the last day of the month to really make sure that like I hit my goals, my team hit their goals. And I remember that I think it was July, my team and I were working so hard all month long to hit this like really massive goal. And it was like all these bonuses. They were gonna earn bonuses. I was gonna earn bonuses. I'm pretty sure it was like $1,500 in bonuses extra on top of everything that I was going to earn. And we were just working so freaking hard. I was so proud of my girls. And it came down to the last probably like day and we were literally this close and we missed by one thing. Like it was the tiniest, littlest thing. And every single ounce of work that we had done for that month, obviously there was so much that we learned, but so much money that we lost because of one tiny thing. And I think it was like some part of like one of the teams was not like fully there. Like they needed one more sale to actually hit their goal. And so I didn't like, team didn't hit, like it just was like a domino effect of like nobody hit their financial goals and all that hard work that we had spent that whole month doing. And it was like a hit and it was like a smack in the face where I was like, oh my God, I'm literally working so hard, so many hours. I'm like always on sales calls. I'm always selling the product. I'm constantly on my social media and I just cannot figure out how to break the cycle of being broke. Like, I don't know how to do it. Keep having, you know, financial anxiety attacks. And at this point, I literally was like not doing my nails. I wasn't doing anything. I didn't do my hair. I didn't do my nails for like 6-7 months. I was renting clothes at this point too. There's like renting, like it's like, I think it's called Rent Pass or something like that, but I was renting clothes and it was about $100 a month. And to me, that was a lot more sustainable than like actually having to go shopping. But the anxiety that came with like not being able to take care of yourself, not being able to contribute to rent. At this point, Garrett was helping me as I got on my feet. I just felt so guilty all the time. I felt like I couldn't go do my nails. I didn't want to. Like, I didn't want to be a burden, and you know, I didn't want to let my family down. I didn't want to let people know that that's how I was actually feeling, and like I felt guilty not being able to afford the lifestyle that I wanted to live when I had just moved across the country, and like, you know, I wanted to like step into this like new me. And honestly, like that really shaped me, and it showed me what it looks like to persevere when you don't know what's gonna happen next. You feel you might fall on your feet and you might just like fail really badly. And so that was the first of like just huge path that I started on. And keep in mind that I was in network marketing for 4 years. And so for me to leave, you know, that it had to have been something that happened that just pushed me over the edge. And I think leaving college and trying to do it full time was what pushed me over the edge to realize like I am like wearing these goggles that like everything is gonna work out, but like that's not reality. Like it's not gonna work out, and it's time that like I just realized that and kind of took that in. And so came August, I started to talk to Garrett, and he was running Closing Bible at this point. And so I was like, I think I'm ready to do like the high ticket sales. Like I'm kind of scared. I don't know if I'll be good at it. Like network marketing, like I've been building a team. You know, the package is about $250. I only make $50 commission on it, but I'm really good at it. And so we just entertained the idea for a little bit. I actually got on this interview with this person, became my mentor, and it was an interview to be a setter. So a setter inside of the high ticket sales world is basically the person that, you know, the company, they do all the ads, all the marketing, then they get a funnel of people, and most of those people book a call with a closer, that full presentation, 45-minute long call. Some of them never finish the application. So a setter's job is to go into those leads, give them phone calls, and see like if they had some issues with their application, basically get them back on the calendar of the advisor, the closer, to talk about the program more. So I applied to be a setter because that was the first position inside of the high ticket sales world. And I remember being on that interview and saying, hey, like I don't have high ticket sales experience, but I do have this other experience. And he stopped me midway and was like, can I ask you something? And I was like, yeah, what's up? And I remember he said like, why did you apply to be a setter? Why didn't you apply to be a closer? And I said, dude, like honestly, I don't have high ticket sales experience, and I didn't think that I would get the job. And at this point I had a lot of limiting beliefs. I had limiting beliefs that I couldn't get a high ticket sales closer job because I was a girl. I thought that I couldn't do it because I was a minority. Like I thought that people wouldn't take me seriously because I didn't look like the average sales guy. And it's messed up, but those were subconscious limiting beliefs that held me back for so long that I just didn't even take action because I was scared. And so I ended up landing a part 2 interview, and then I missed that part 2 interview because we were traveling and I didn't even realize the time zone. And I just remember like sitting and just being like so upset and like crying and being like, this was my one opportunity to like change my life, and I missed it, and I didn't know what to do. And so I remember Garrett and I just prayed like, let's hope that we can recover from this, because yeah, this would literally change my life. Like the amount of like moments that I sat on my kitchen table in Miami and just like literally cried at dinner, and Garrett would be like, are you okay? And I'd be like, I'm fine. But I would just like have meltdowns. Like this was my one opportunity where I saw the compensation and it was $150,000 a year to $170,000. And it just like, I don't ever want to be in this position where I'm like sitting at my kitchen table eating dinner, crying every single night because I can't afford to get groceries. I can't afford to go out to eat because I can't afford to like buy my own clothes. So I had a meltdown. I was like, oh my God, I hope I didn't ruin this. I reached out to, you know, the person that was interviewing me, and I explained the whole situation. And I also let him know like, hey, I'm going to a conference for the company that I will leave if you give me this job. And like, I would love to like hop on an interview with you and do that part 2 if you're still open to it. And he actually was like, yeah, no, totally all right. You know, I understand things happen and connection and like the time zone because you're traveling. So yes, we could definitely do a part 2 interview. It ended up landing on one of the days that I was at that conference for the network marketing business that I was a part of. And so I think it was like day 2 or day 3. But what happened is I went to this conference and it was great. I mean, Tony Robbins was speaking there. I think Ed Mylett was there too. And I had an amazing experience there. But I remember like looking around the crowd at like all the girls on my team, all of my like sidelines, all my friends, and like everyone was complaining about money. Everyone was complaining about how they didn't have enough, they weren't making enough, they kept missing bonuses. And like, I just looked around, and I'm big into personal development, and I remember being like, you are the 5 people that you surround yourself by most. And if you're looking around in the network marketing business that like everyone is an entrepreneur, everyone's like working really hard, they're like leaders, and no one's making money, that was a slap in the face where I was like, OMG. Like, I'm literally like at this conference where you're supposed to be like, you're talking about how to make money, how to hit your goals, how to level up, how to grow your team, and yet you're not making any money. None of us are making any money. Like, we're not really making money. That was, to me, the moment that I realized like, I have the skill, but I think I'm in the wrong vehicle. And again, nothing at like network marketing, like it shaped me and it was so amazing, but it was a realization where like I had learned my lesson there. Now it was time to move on to the next thing and apply it in a place where I could actually hit my financial goals. And so on the day that, like, I think it was like day 2 or day 3, I did my part 2 interview. I literally killed it. I remember walking around on the streets with a script and just reading it with Garrett, because I was like, I really need to get this job. Like, I really need to like get this opportunity, and I killed it. I ended up getting the offer for the closer position right then and there, and I accepted it. And it was one of the most life-changing decisions I've ever made in my life. Like 100%. In the top 3 most life-changing decisions that I've ever made was saying yes to my first high-ticket role, and it ended up completely changing my life. Before we move on to like all the great things that happened, I want to talk about the last straw that broke the camel's back, because I think that going through hard experiences like this, you could honestly consider this my hell island. This was like worst of the worst, hit the ground, and like I needed to get out of this situation. But the moment that just broke the camel's back, as I just said, is I was at this conference. It was like second to last day, like one of those. I was wearing this like rented dress. Like everything that I took to that conference was rented, and I loved it. It was really cute, but I had like no money in my bank account. Like at this point, my credit card was almost maxed out. I had like $50 to my name. Garrett was on this trip with me. He was supporting us for the food and like the Ubers and all that stuff. And like I literally was wearing rented clothes, which is totally fine. But to me, the belief behind it was like, I wish I could afford to like at least buy something, but I don't even have that option. This is my only option. And so the reason that it just, everything kind of like broke and I realized like I need to like do something else was on one of the last days. They had this like event where everyone dressed in gowns and you looked so good, and I was wearing this like really beautiful like long dress. It was like a long black dress. It just like hugged my body. I looked like $1 million. Like I literally looked like I made a lot of money, and I was faking it. Like that was all rented clothes. And like at this event, imagine there's a big stage and it's like all these people getting inducted into like the $1 million club, $5 million club, $10 million club. And I'm watching them, cheering them on. My 4th year here, I still haven't even broke $10,000 in a year in like salary. And I'm like, that's gonna be me. And then my dress breaks. My beautiful dress broke, the one that I was renting. And I had a full-blown panic attack. Nobody understood why I was in the bathroom bawling my eyes out for like an hour. My teammates didn't get it. Like my downline, they were like, what's going on? Because at this point I had brought like 8 to 10 girls to this conference to like learn and grow. And I was just having a full-blown meltdown. I was wearing a dress that I had rented that I could not afford. And it had broke, and to fix it, it would have been $300, which is what it originally costed. If they couldn't like fix it, if it wasn't within their guidelines of like what would be free to fix. And I was like, I don't have $300. Like I don't know how I would possibly pay for this dress if I don't have the money. And I'm at this conference and like you're supposed to be making money, but like no one's making money. That is when I decided I'm going all into high ticket sales and I'm leaving network marketing. And again, I love network marketing. It taught me so much, but it was just time for me to go to the next thing. And so really, really exciting news was my first month in high ticket sales as a closer. I made the company $100,000 in revenue. I personally made $10,000 in commission. And from 1 month where I'm literally in $2,500 of credit card debt, have like $50 to my name, and renting clothes, still can't do my nails, still haven't done my hair, like super stressed out, money anxiety holding me back for months and months and months, to the next month I make my first $10,000. I pay off my credit card and I have an outstanding, like I have $7,000 on my, like to my name now. I was literally shook. I was like, how can you go from like struggling this bad to literally just completely changing your life? in 1 month. And it was then when I realized like everything that I worked so hard for, all that financial anxiety and like all those like really hard moments, my hell island, that moment where I was sitting in this seminar crying my eyes out because I broke a dress that I couldn't afford to fix because it wasn't mine, it was rented. They all shaped what was gonna happen next. They shaped me to have so much drive, so much intent to come in and become the #1 closer, make $10,000 off the bat, bring in the company $100,000 off the bat. And I was just like such a go-getter because of everything that I had been through. It was the opportunity that God gave me to come in and change people's lives and by default make a lot of money. And that was something that I was not going to take up like for granted. I was gonna show up as my best self every single day. And so I went on to become the top closer for that company, brought in a outstanding $1.5 million in revenue within my first year. That is about $150,000 that I took home, which when I did the math on the 4 years in network marketing, the most that I had made was about $25,000, like probably less. And to have made $20,000 in 2 months of this new thing that I was doing was insane. It was insane. It changed my life. It showed me what it looks like to decide to leave something that's comfortable, leave something that you've been knowing, and do something that you know is going to, #1, make you uncomfortable, but #2, help you grow. And #3, be more in alignment with the dream life that you're trying to create. I went on to become the lead closer there, which basically meant that I was doing team calls for a whole summer when my manager was on paternity leave. I was doing call reviews with every single team member once a week. I was doing end of day feedback for these team members as well. Like I was doing so much, and that led me to 5 months later get the opportunity to be the sales manager on that team, where my team did a staggering $4.5–5 million in revenue within the 5 months that I was there. And #1, I never had sales management experience. I was given that opportunity because of the way that I showed up and the way that I wanted to not only add value to the people that I was speaking with on these like sales calls, but also my team members. And so that has led me to learning a lot of lessons. #1, on the sales side of things, how to influence somebody to make a decision, how to be a part of a life-changing decision, how to empower people, how to hold people accountable, what a sales process should look like, handling objections, like all things that. And then on the management side of things, it's how to manage a sales team, how to deal with different personalities, how to influence your sales team, how to find your voice within a sales team and speak up, how to have really difficult conversations, how to hire people, how to fire people, what makes people be really great candidates on interviews. Like all of those things were amazing things that I learned through the sales management experience. And so it eventually came time, and like one day we'll talk more about all the lessons, very soon actually, all the lessons that I learned, but it came time for me to do the next thing. And that is when I decided, from being burnt out, that like, hey, if I'm going to give my all to something, it better be something that I'm building for myself. And so that is when Garrett and I decided to go all in and partnering together for Closing Bible and HireSalesReps.io. So that's led me now to being the co-owner of these two companies. And it just all in all has inspired me to want to impact so many other people that are in the exact same position as me in leveling up, in hitting their financial goals, because really it's just an outlet, it's a vehicle to help you to those goals. And so that's my full story, and I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I'm super excited to share all the value and knowledge that I've learned, and hopefully inspire some of you as well. Okay, bye guys.